We've never seen anything like this in a multiplayer game before. Not just a better map, not just a new mode, but an experience that blends PvP, PvE, progression, and puzzles all into one new system. And somehow it actually works. Cryo Archive in Marathon isn't just pushing the genre forward, it's redefining what a multiplayer map can even be. Because this isn't something you just learn and master, it's something you have to figure out, adapt to, and survive. And if this is where games are heading, everything else is about to feel outdated. Before anyone even stepped foot inside Cryo Archive, it was already different. For weeks, the community was stuck in a full-blown ARG. Puzzles hidden across the game, clues spread across systems, players working together trying to solve something no one fully understood. And then Bungie dropped the twist. The map was already in the game, we just didn't know how to access it. That alone flips the normal formula most games release content. Cryo Archive had to be discovered. The community solved it, until finally, the door opened. And what was waiting on the other side? Well, it wasn't just a new map. It was something completely different. In most shooters, you have to choose. You either get tight competitive PvP, a large immersive PvE space, or a deep progression system. But rarely all three are working together. Cryo Archive doesn't choose, it combines all of it. This map is a PvP arena, a PvE survival experience, and a full-on puzzle box, just like Destiny, all layered into one system. You're not just fighting players, you're navigating a maze, managing systems, solving problems in real time. And that creates something most games can't. An experience that constantly evolves while you're playing it. But here's the thing, not everyone is loving this. And the complaints, they're not small. You can't solo it. That's what some are saying. Even with a full squad, it's nearly impossible. This isn't a map you stumble through and figure out. This is a map that will eject you repeatedly until you understand it. And the puzzles, players who came from Tarkov or Hunt or say Arc Raiders, they didn't sign up for that. They came to come in, loot, and extract, not to solve a riddle before they can even access the boss. And then there's the Destiny DNA that is all through it. The mechanics, the way the map rewards knowledge over regression, the way it feels. If you hated Destiny, this is gonna feel like homework. And that's not a small group of people. That's a massive portion of the extraction shooter audience who looked at Cryo Archive and said, no, this isn't for me. So the criticism is real. Cryo Archive isn't accessible to everyone. It isn't casual, it doesn't care if you're new. But here's where it gets interesting, because that restriction, that's not a flaw. That's the entire point. The best loot in Marathon doesn't sit behind a loading screen, it sits behind the hardest thing you can do in the game. And the only way you can get it is by being willing to do what most players won't. And that difficulty, that starts the moment you drop in. Because what really makes Cryo Archive different is the clock. In most extraction shooters, the timer, it just adds a little bit of pressure to get out at a certain period of time. But in Cryo, the timer is the game. You're always running out of time. You get lost? Probably dead. Take too long? Probably dead. Make the wrong rotation? You might miss the extract. This game forces you to think ahead. Every decision matters. You need to plan before you even move. Honestly, you should plan before you even load in. And that creates real tension. Not scripted, not artificial, but constant pressure driven by the player and the map itself. This is the map the complaints warned you about, and this is exactly why it works. And it doesn't stop with the clock. Even extracting isn't simple. In most extraction shooters, you always know where your exits are. They're fixed, predictable, always available if you can reach them. Cryo Archive doesn't work like that. You don't just run to an extract, you have to activate it. And if you don't know how, and you're not in a position to trigger one, you're stuck, which means you're either figuring it out on the fly or you're forced to wait, because in the final 60 seconds, one extract opens in a random location and it becomes a race. Probably not for everybody on the map because nobody's alive at that point, at least on Cryo, that is. Across a map that's already confusing, already dangerous, and already working against you, and that changes everything, because now escaping isn't just about surviving, it's about planning ahead, knowing your route, knowing your options, and committing early enough to actually make it out. In Cryo Archive, even getting out is part of the challenge. It's kind of what makes it cool. And all of that pressure feeds directly into the map design. Cryo Archive isn't just one space, it's layered. You start in your own section, your own wing, and from there, you have to earn your way deeper. You don't just get to work your way deeper, you have to literally earn it. Everything revolves around security clearance. You gain it by killing players and taking their tags, which grant you security clearance, finding tags off of dead AI, or interacting with different systems, which means PvP isn't just combat, it's progression. The more fights you win, the more access you gain. At first, your movement is limited, but as your clearance increases, the map opens up more and more. New routes, new paths, new risks. Push the center, you'll run into chaos, players, AI, everything at once. Stay on the edges, you get more control, but slower progression. And by the time you hit max clearance, you can move almost anywhere. It turns the map into something alive. Not just a place you play, but something you unlock in real time. Then comes the reward system. And this is where Cryo really separates itself. The map is built around multiple vaults, each one more complex than the last. Early vaults are fairly straightforward. Simple puzzles, quick access, but even those can reward you with high-tier weapons, rare attachments, and valuable gear you don't consistently see on other maps. As you move deeper, everything escalates. The puzzles get harder, the routes get more dangerous, and the risk of running into other players, it skyrockets. But so does the reward. Fully kitted weapons, top-tier mods, high-value items that can completely change your economy in a single run. And if you push your security clearance high enough, you can pull items like the compiler trace, massive value. I mean, we're talking 40K for each player on the team. It's shared across the entire team if you make it out. So one successful run can set you up for multiple raids. But all of this builds towards one thing: Vault 7. To even attempt it, you have to collect AI subroutines from the first 6 vaults, batteries, and the clearance, of course, which means surviving multiple high-risk runs, successfully extracting and stacking everything together just for a chance to get in. And I don't fully even understand it myself. I haven't done it either, but I know that it is a crazy feat. And once you do it, it's not just a vault, it's a full-on raid boss, like almost at the Destiny level. This being inside of a PvP extraction shooter with mechanics, damage phases, mid-fight puzzles, and you have to have coordination to survive. And all of this while the pressure of the raid is still there. I mean, somebody could walk into this boss room and kill you while you're trying to defeat the boss. But if you pull it off, if you actually kill the boss, everything changes. You unlock a sealed loot room that has the best loot. A true safe space. No other players, no pressure, just your team and some of the best loot in the game, and I'm not kidding. Golds for days, purples for days, and a red weapon. And you're not rushed. You can loot for as long as you have. Take everything you can, maximize your run, and when you're ready, there's an extract right there. No chaos, no last second fight, just a clean escape. And Bungie didn't stop there. They limited Cryo Archive to 3 days a week. Now, I know, at first, that sounds terrible. Why would you limit the best thing in your game to only 3 days? Like, why lock the best content? But this solves one of the biggest problems in extraction shooters, which is power creep. Without limits, top players would run this non-stop stack gear and eventually gatekeep the entire experience. This system slows that down. Even the best players only have a limited window. At the same time, it protects everyone else. If you go in, lose everything, get wiped, and do that over and over, you now have some time to recover. You can rebuild, farm safer maps, and try again on the next cycle. And that balance is critical because Cryo is designed to take gear out of the economy and not flood it. It also gives the opportunity to get better gear as well if you have been struggling to find the best stuff. And this isn't new for Bungie either. If you've played Destiny, you've seen this before. That same weekend model, like Trials, where the best rewards are limited to a specific window because it gives players something to build towards and something to look forward to. So when the weekend hits, you're not just playing a map, you're risking everything you earned that week, and that turns Cryo Archive into something bigger than just content. It becomes a full-on event, and it's exciting to have something to look forward to every weekend. Cryo Archive is brutal. It's confusing, it's stressful, and it will absolutely take everything from you if you're not careful. You might not be able to solo it, you might not understand the puzzles, and you might look at it and say, this isn't for me. And that's okay, because Cryo Archive was never designed for everyone. It was designed for the players willing to lose, willing to study, and willing to come back, and probably for those tryhards that are coming from Destiny. Come on, let's be real. It was made for those guys that were sitting in the raids all the time in Destiny. I was one of those guys, so I think this is pretty cool, but I get where it may not be that cool. Now, at its peak, this map creates something no other multiplayer experience does. Now, you can't lie about that. It totally does. You go from chaos, racing the clock, fighting players, trying to survive, to breaking through and beating the boss, and then stepping into a space where for the first time, you've actually won. No pressure, no interruptions, just you, your team, and the reward you earned. And that contrast from pure stress to complete control is something no other extraction shooter delivers. Plus, having a boss that has actual mechanics in an extraction shooter, I mean, if you're into that at all, that's really cool. Bungie didn't just make a better map, they made a map that earns its reward. And if this is the future of multiplayer design, this might be the moment where everything evolves. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. I'd love it if you hit all those buttons, and I will see you in the next one.